Dear students, our today's topic is the pharmacology of shock. The disclaimer here is that this is not a distinctive chapter of pharmacology. You will study in details about shock in pathology and in medicine. Having said that, it is important to know the drugs used in different types of shock. Some pharmacology teachers are very much interested in the use of drugs in shock. So, without further ado, let's start. Now, what is shock? To make the long story short, we can say in a simple way that it is an emergency medical condition where the supply of oxygen fails to meet the metabolic demands of the tissues. That means there is less supply and more demand, or there is normal supply but more demand, or normal demand or less supply, or maybe both. Okay, so ultimately the tissues are not getting enough oxygenation. Okay, so this is the main thing. Now let's look at the types of shock. Actually, this is not the standard classification of shock. I have just shown here the broad classes of shock. These are hypovolemic shock, cardiogenic shock, anaphylactic shock, septic shock, and there are also many other types of shock. But I have shown these broad classes here. Okay. Now, to treat a patient with shock, we have to first assess the patient. So, what are the things we should look for? Okay. And this is important for selecting our drugs, right? So, let's come to the assessment. Look for the cardiac output. Is it adequate or it is inadequate? If the cardiac output is normal, okay, so let's think that the problem might be in distribution. That means distribution of blood flow, it may be obstructed, right? And look for the volume. Is the patient is hypovolemic or normovolemic? Okay, so let's look at these things. Now we have to plan the treatment. The general plan will be the same for every type of shock. So first of all, we have to find out the cause and treat the cause. For example, the shock is due to bleeding or myocardial infarction or infection. So whatever the cause is, we have to treat the cause. And if there is decreased volume, we have to replace the volume. So fluid replacement will be important, and perfusion of vital organs, okay, by different measures. Now let's look at the individual types of shock. So number one, hypovolemic shock. You can see from the name that here the volume is less, so there is a deficient volume. So the mainstay of treatment should be volume replacement. Okay, so treatment of underlying cause, first of all, then raise the legs. It gives some symptomatic improvement, and then give IV fluids. This is the mainstay of treatment, giving IV fluids. What do we give? We give the usually crystalloidal solutions. For example, Hartmann solution, normal saline, etc. 10 to 15 ml per kg. If improvement, then repeat. And if there is no improvement, after giving 2 bolus of this treatment, then refer the patient to the ICU. Okay, so the crystalloidal solution is the mainstay of treatment here in hypovolemic shock. But here is a quick note. There is a controversy in the use of crystalloid and colloid. So crystalloids are immediately effective, okay, but they tend to leave the circulation rapidly. On the other hand, colloids stay in the circulation for longer periods. But the use of colloids did not show any benefit over crystalloids in clinical trials. Okay, on top of that, colloids are far more expensive. For that reason, as we can see that theoretically colloids are more beneficial than the crystalloids, but in clinical practice they have shown nothing beneficial over crystalloids. So crystalloids are used commonly, and this is the routine practice, but in some cases crystalloids and colloids both can be used. Okay. Now let's come to cardiogenic shock. What is cardiogenic shock? Here the main problem is within the heart. That means the heart is weak, so it cannot pump enough enough blood to the tissues, so the tissues cannot get enough oxygenation. Okay. Now it may be caused by myocardial infarction, the most common cause. Then can be caused by cardiomyopathies, arrhythmias, valvular heart disease, etc. These are some common causes of cardiogenic shock. Now how will you treat the patient? First of all, you have to give oxygen inhalation. Oxygen inhalation is very important. Then inotropic support. This is the mainstay of treatment in cardiogenic shock. We can give either dopamine or we can give dobutamine. So we have discussed the use of dopamine and dobutamine in cardiogenic shock. Dopamine is a positive inotropic agent, as well as it is renoprotective because of its action in the renal vasculature. Okay, and dobutamine has only the inotropic effect, it does not have any renoprotective effect. Okay, but where renoprotective effect is not needed, there dobutamine is preferred over dopamine, and in cases of renoprotective action, where renoprotective action is needed, then dopamine is preferred. Okay, now and then treatment of cause. If suppose there is MI, the cardiogenic shock is due to MI, then you have to give morphine to reduce the pain, and if the patient comes within 12 hours, then you can do a percutaneous coronary intervention. Okay, so PCI can be done. Then come to septic shock. So in case of septic shock, usually by gram negative bacteria, endotoxin is released, and this endotoxin leads to release of cytokines, and that can lead to vasodilation, and vasodilation can lead to ultimately shock. And this is although this is a very simplistic view, there may be other functions of these cytokines. Okay, so those things also contribute to septic shock. Now how will you manage a patient of septic shock? How will you treat that patient? So of course high flow oxygen should be given. Then you have to send the blood for culture and sensitivity, and administer IV antibiotics. This is the mainstay of treatment here. Okay, so administer IV antibiotics. You have to give IV antibiotics. Okay, because this is a type of infection, right? So serum lactate measurement and first full blood count. Okay, serum lactate measurement has a very important role in observing the prognosis of this thing. Okay, then adequate fluid replacement will be necessary. If there is volume depletion, then we have to replace the fluid. There is adequate fluid replacement should be given. And then pressor agents, vasopressor agents, that means the agents that can constrict the blood vessels, right? So norepinephrine is the drug of choice here, although in our country, okay, in Bangladesh, this drug norepinephrine is not used clinically. Okay, so but this is the ideal practice in the United Kingdom. So what do we give there? Norepinephrine. So norepinephrine has alpha 1 action that increases the mean arterial pressure. Okay, so norepinephrine is not used for its beta 1 action, which is to stimulate the heart. No, but it has modest beta 1 action. If there is associated decreased cardiac output, then it can be beneficial in that case also. But the main purpose of use of this drug is to constrict the blood vessels and increase the mean arterial pressure. Okay, so thank you for joining. This concludes here.